How the United States was created. Imagine a world where the United States did not exist. No American flag, no Washington, D.C., and no nation known as the United States of America. More than 2.5 centuries ago, the land that would eventually become the United States was a collection of 13 British colonies stretched along the eastern coast of North America. These colonies were established over many decades by settlers who crossed the Atlantic Ocean in search of opportunity, religious freedom, and a better life. Although each colony had its own local government and culture, all of them remained under the authority of the British Crown. For many years, the relationship between Britain and the colonies was relatively peaceful. Colonists considered themselves British subjects and enjoyed the protection of the powerful British Empire. Trade flourished, towns expanded, and the population grew rapidly. However, events in Europe would eventually change everything. During the 18th century, Britain fought several costly wars, including the French and Indian War. Although Britain emerged victorious, the war left the British government with enormous debts. British leaders believed that the American colonies should help pay for the cost of defending the empire. As a result, Parliament introduced a series of taxes on the colonies. These taxes included duties on paper, newspapers, legal documents, tea, and many imported goods. British officials argued that the taxes were reasonable. Many colonists strongly disagreed. The colonists believed they were being treated unfairly. They pointed out that they had no representatives in the British Parliament. If they had no voice in government, why should they be forced to pay taxes imposed from thousands of miles away? This frustration soon evolved into a political movement. Across the colonies, meetings were held, speeches were delivered, and protests became increasingly common. A powerful phrase captured the growing anger of the colonists: "No taxation without representation." The slogan spread quickly throughout the colonies and became a symbol of resistance against British policies. As tensions increased, relations between Britain and the colonies continued to deteriorate. British officials attempted to enforce the new laws, while colonists organized boycotts and demonstrations. One of the most famous moments came in December 1773. In Boston Harbor, a group of colonists disguised themselves and boarded British ships carrying tea. They dumped hundreds of chests of tea into the harbor as a protest against British taxation. The event became known as the Boston Tea Party. News of the protest shocked Britain. The government responded with strict measures intended to punish Massachusetts and restore order. Instead, these actions united many colonists who had previously remained neutral. Throughout 1774 and 1775, both sides prepared for a confrontation. Colonial militias began training, storing weapons, and organizing local defense forces. British authorities increased military activity in an attempt to maintain control. In April 1775, fighting finally broke out at Lexington and Concord. The first shots of the American Revolutionary War had been fired. What started as a dispute over taxes and political rights was now becoming a struggle that would determine the future of an entire continent.